Hi there. Welcome to another edition of the Interview SME series, where we explore which option is a better source of funding for small businesses between commercial banks and microfinance banks. To determine this, we look at three key considerations for small business loans. The first is pricing, the second, the turnaround time, and the third are the loan requirements. Let's take a look at a few statistics related to MSME loans in Nigeria. Now, PwC says the biggest problem facing MSME's business is obtaining finance, which stood at 22%. Yet, the National Bureau of Statistics states that less than 5% of SMEs in Nigeria have access to adequate finance for their business. Unsurprisingly, only 15% of the MSMEs surveyed by PwC have taken a credit facility in 12 months. Delving deeper, 33% of SMEs said they would prefer debt financing to realize their growth ambitions, yet half of the SMEs who applied for loans within the same period cited high cost of procuring it as the reason they turned them down. Furthermore, 31% say their application was rejected, 10% got a part of their applied amount, while only 10% got everything they applied for. For those businesses that were able to access credit, 92% of them came from commercial banks, while less than 5% were from microfinance banks. In this edition, we speak with Helen Emory, the CEO of Scientia Consult, an MSME growth accelerator based in Lagos, to share her insights. Ms. Emory believes commercial banks offer better incentives, but microfinance banks have a faster overall loan process.
Okay, so definitely commercial banks have lower rates. Some microfinance banks charge as much as 25, 30%, in some instances 5% a month, which brings you to close to 60% per annum. But they are easier to access and the processes are shorter and the time is shorter. So why you see most small business owners going to microfinance banks is because the microfinance banks have less cumbersome processes. The period between when you apply for your loan and when you get it is shorter than when it is a commercial bank.
However, she also notes commercial banks are quickly adjusting to suit smaller businesses.
However, I must say that most commercial banks now have SME desks. And because they have SME desks, they have also trained their personnel to understand the SME ecosystem. So they're able to offer them loans based on their capacity and also at shorter periods. So you have a shorter transaction cycle. Before it used to take such a long process, you have to get this guarantor, they have to check all sorts of things with you. But now the SMEs and the banks have a better relationship. So they're able to take their decisions quickly and on time.
Usman Onoja is the Chief Executive Officer of Lovonus Microfinance Bank, and he tells us the advantages that microfinance banks have over commercial banks for small and medium enterprises.
One, they will have access to the money fast. And having access to the money is for them to be able to buy and sell quickly and make their income and working. Of which, in commercial bank, it has to go through a long process of approval before they have access to this money. Getting the money cheap and you will not be able to use it to do this. Is that the objective here? The objective here is having access to the money. And so we have to put a little cost for having access to the money. That was why our own rate is a bit higher. But commercial bank is cheaper, but they won't have access to the money as quickly as possible. And then we don't need to, because of the customer has been our customer for a long time, so the relationship is there. In terms of character, we already know this customer has character. In terms of capacity, we know this customer has capacity because we know the shop. We have been giving this customer support from asset financing. Some customers will finance them by buying fridge for them, buying other things they need to support their business. So we know this customer already. So If the customer is graduating to SME, oh, we now know is qualified. So in terms of documentation, it's no longer a problem. No any collateral any longer because the customer has already met all the other requirements.
In conclusion, we can safely say that while microfinance banks are indeed tailor-made for SMEs, commercial banks are also fast catching up. For pricing, commercial banks come cheaper and can support larger loan amounts. Microfinance banks generally respond faster to loan requests and have variety to cater for different business needs. Microfinance banks also have less requirements and documentation for loans as they have a stronger relationship with SMEs, although commercial banks are currently plugging this gap. Small and medium enterprises will have to choose which option ticks their peculiar boxes when applying for a credit facility. That will be all for this episode. See you next time.